What's up, guys? So Saturday night we got Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And you know, it's a Jake Paul fight. Like, not going to be many X's and O's on this video of who's going to win. This is really just kind of a trajectory matchup, like where these two guys are going in their career. I've never been that high on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., even after that Andy Lee win, which was 13 years ago. He had that win. I think he beat Brian Vera after that in 2014. That was his last half legit win. Was Brian Vera? Shout out to Brian Vera from the Contender. I believe it was season 2 he was on. That was a great show, The Contender. But like Brian Vera's your last win in the last decade. Like that's your best win. And other than that, I mean, he lost to Anderson Silva, who Jake Paul just beat recently. Um, I mean, look, say what you want about Jake Paul, but I think the guy's a money making machine in the gambling world. He's just like there's value on him in every single one of his fights, in my opinion. Like, I mean, the the Ryan Borland and August fights, those are what they are. He knocked them out both out in the first round. Like those guys were just there for a paycheck. And for the people that, think some of Jake Paul's fights are fixed, those are probably the two you would go to be like, geez, like, these guys, they're not making any money. They're club scene fighters. Jake probably threw him an extra, 20, 30 grand or something like that to fix the fight. And I don't know if that's true or not, but like, those fights were pretty suspect. But I mean, I think he was only like under minus 1,000 in both those fights, and he run through both those guys in a round. And like I bet fights every week. Like there's a lot of like high priced favorites every single week. So when you get like Jake Paul, he's down to like minus 600 for this fight. I mean, you could bet him any way. Like you can bet him straight up. You could throw him in parlays. I did both. He's on a bunch of my parlays. Like he's just anchor on a lot of my parlays. A lot of those heavy favorites. And then I got guys like I took a shot on Tevin Farmer and like Tevin Farmer, a bunch of heavy favorites, and then Jake Paul to end it all off. You end up getting pretty good odds. So I just think Jake Paul's just free money here. All of his fights pretty much are free money. I've picked every single one of his fights correctly, and it's just an easy guy to pick his fights. But this is one where I'm pretty sure he's gonna take care of Chavez Jr. just because this is like a fade of Chavez Jr. It's a fade of the pro boxer who's been a boxer for most of his life and has 40 something fights. Like I'm fading him because of his commitment to the sport. Just doesn't seem like he's there. I've read too many stories about him not training in the gym. I just read one within the last week. Sean Porter came out with a story, and he just said like, I showed up to Wild Card Gym to train one day, and like Julio Cesar Chavez just showed up, and he was just like, come in there, like hit the bag for a couple of minutes, like shadow box, and then he was just gone. And Sean Porter was just like, that's so unprofessional. He's just like, he's not a real boxer. He just kind of shows up, does his own thing, and gets the hell out of there. And I I don't know. I don't like it. I know he's training with that Clipatillo guy out of Las Vegas, and that guy's a good trainer. But like, I don't think it's like I don't think he's pushing Chavez Jr. I think he's more there like, okay, what do you need me to do? Okay, yeah, you want to stop? Yeah, go ahead and stop. Like, I don't think anybody's really training Chavez Jr. to this at this point. And I know his dad's around. He doesn't want to embarrass himself in front of his dad, but like the guy's really got no reason to keep training. Like, even if he beats Jake Paul, like, where the hell does that land him? You ain't getting a shot at Zerto Ramirez. Like, there's a better shot of Jake Paul if he wins getting a shot at him. As sad as that is to say. But it's pretty pathetic that Jake Paul is going to get thrown into the rankings if he beats Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Like it makes no sense whatsoever. I think BoxRec has Jake Paul ranked at like number 87 or something like that. I don't know how you make that jump with a guy who's I don't believe he's ever fought at cruiserweight before. I don't think the Uriah Hall fight was at cruiserweight, but um I mean, I just think Jake Paul's going to just control this fight. He's young, he's getting better, and I this is another reason this is a perfect fight for where I don't like to take methods of victory because Jake Paul, I think if he wants, I think he's going to feel that Chavez Jr. doesn't have a lot of power, and Chavez Jr. is going to gas in this fight, I believe. And but it's all a matter of Jake Paul wants to go for the knockout or not because he had those two first round knockouts in a row like he went like 6 rounds with Mike Perry. He went the full distance with Tyson, and I think he wants to get rounds in. Like if I was growing a boxer, I'd say like, look, if you feel him early and you know he's got nothing to bring to you, like let's just get a decision here because let's get you some rounds. Because if you're truly thinking about fighting for a world title like you said you are. If you win this fight and then they throw you into the rankings, I'm assuming they're going to have you fight another guy in like the top 15 at least. And your ass better be able to go some rounds because those guys aren't going to get hit by your stupid right hand like all these other bums that you've been fighting are. So you got to learn how to box and you got to learn on the job. So I think I like Jake Paul by decision in this fight. I like him by a dominant decision. And I mean, like I said, it's just a fade on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because I don't think he's dedicated to the sport. And Jake Paul's only 28 years old, so you got 28 versus 40. I mean, they're both about the same size if you look at on paper, but Jake Paul's going to be a lot bigger than him out there. They're both 6'1". I think Jake Paul's got like a couple inches on in reach on him, but this should be an easy fight for Jake Paul. He can control it. He's just going to have to land 3 or 4 clean punches around and win the round because Chavez Jr. is just I'd love to say like the Chavez Jr. from old is going to come back. He's going to get inside and he's going to throw like a left hook to the body or something like that, and he's going to hurt Jake possibly. But like I just can't see it happening just because I like why didn't he do that against Anderson Silva? Like if you're getting inside, that means you're not necessarily afraid of somebody's power. So if you couldn't do it against Anderson Silva and Uriah Hall, Jake Paul hits a lot harder than both of them. And just easy win for Jake Paul. It's all there is to say about it. And I think he just controls the whole fight. He dictates wherever the fight wants to go. And but this fight, I think he stays out at distance and he gets a jab going. Throws that little check hook that he's been working on. And he just lands here and there. I think it's going to be another boring fight from Jake Paul. And I just got him winning an easy decision, but like I said, just don't take the method of victory. I mean, a lot of people are going like the under in this fight, going Jake Paul by knockout. I wouldn't be so fast to do that just because, like I said, I think the guy wants to get some rounds in there because he has to start doing that eventually. You can't just be knocking these guys out in the first and second round, and then all of a sudden he's going to have to take a gigantic step up in competition and he's not going to be used to going even 8 rounds, and this isn't the 8 rounds that he did against Tyson either. Like, it's going to be 8 rounds against a somewhat legit guy. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's not crazy to think that Jake Paul could fight for a world title within the next like year and a half, just because cruiserweight is so bad. I'm not saying it's Jake Paul bad, but I'm saying if a guy like Jake Paul comes in, all the guys with belts are going to want to fight him because he brings money along. And there's nobody in the cruiserweight division that makes money. You got Dio Pataya and Zerto Ramirez, and like, dude, that's it. Like Chris Billum Smith, like I would love to see that fight. I would love to see Jake Paul versus Billum Smith before he gets a title shot. And I know a lot of people out there don't like that or whatever. I don't like it either, but this is the reality of where we're at. And Jake Paul, if he keeps winning, he's only got to win like 2, 3 more fights, and the dude's gonna get a title shot. And unless somehow like Jairo Pataya and Zerto Ramirez uh, unify, and there's no way Jake Paul's gonna fight Jairo Pataya. But I could see him fighting Zerto Ramirez for a belt. I can just see it. But Yeah, like I say, Jake Paul, just a easy decision here. Like, don't overthink this. Don't have too much hope in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I know you don't like Jake Paul, but I would not throw my money on Chavez Jr. Against anybody in the cruiserweight division. I wouldn't do it because the guy just doesn't train, and and I don't trust him. So I'll go with the guy who is at least dedicating himself to the craft, as much of a joke as some people might think he is. Just give me Jake Paul minus 600 money line. I think there's a lot of value there. I bet this thing at, I think they had a minus 800 a couple of weeks ago. I did some bets there. Now he's all the way down to 600. So I'm just throwing him on more parlays. But yeah, Jake Paul. And it's a good undercard. Like, Tevin Farmer, I'm taking a shot on him. Tevin Farmer versus Floyd Schofield. Holly Holmes making her return. There's another fight with some value on it. Holly Holm she was minus 1400 the other day. I just got her at minus 450. Like, I'll take a shot. I know she hasn't boxed since in like 13 years, but she's been keeping in very good shape because I've watched all of her UFC fights. And, she's not winning all of them, especially recently, but she's definitely been in good shape. And I know how good a shape you got to be in to stop takedowns, which is usually what Holly Holm has to do in the UFC. And she's become really good at it. And that takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of stamina, because if any other boxer stopped in there and tried to defend a takedown for 2 minutes, they would be absolutely gassed. And so she has that on her side. She's got the experience. This chick she's fighting is 10-0, but go to BoxRec and look at all those girls she fought. There's nobody on there. I think she only has one KO. Holly Holm's probably going to be a lot bigger than her. I mean, just ride with Holly Holm. Uh, Zerto, obviously, he's like minus 1,000 up to minus like 1,400. I've seen him on some websites. Plus him on a bunch of parlays. I guess if you're a guy who likes upsets, Darkois, like, maybe him by knockout is his only shot. But Zerto, I think, is the clear number two cruiserweight in the world. And but it's not a bad undercard there. So there's some money to be made this weekend. Like, we got Deontay Wilder fighting Friday night. Uh, Got to put money on him. I mean, I would hope that he could knock this guy out. If Richard Torres knocked this guy out in 2 rounds, Deontay Wilder, like, I don't care how old you are, how bad you've looked, you got to be able to get this guy out. And Wilder doesn't like to go to the scorecard, so I have to imagine, you know, maybe he was afraid to pull the trigger against Zhilei Zhang. I don't blame him for that. And maybe he just was never as good as we all thought he was. Well, now I'm not gonna say we, because I was never high on him at all. But, like, maybe he wasn't that good, but it doesn't matter. Like, you should still be able to wipe the floor with this guy. And like, it's your card, so, like, all eyes are just on you, and they're on you to impress. And this is all you got to do at this point in your career: win 1-2 garbage fights, and then start calling out Anthony Joshua, and get that fight back up and going. So, like, he has a reason to fight. Jake Paul has a reason to fight. Like, Chavez Jr. does not have a reason to fight. Wilder's opponent, like, where the hell are you going even if you beat Wilder? Like, it doesn't really matter. So these guys that have something to fight for, I'm just putting my money on them. Sometimes it backfires, like, Caleb Plant and Ryan Garcia, but I feel comfortable putting my money on all those guys. So enjoy the fights this weekend, and that's it.